So right now it's about 45 degrees outside, but if you want to see some snow, you're going to have to hop on a plane and head north, way north of Georgia. But that wasn't the case exactly 10 years ago when a winter storm turned Atlanta into an icy mess. The slick roads causing wreck after wreck on jam-packed interstates as the entire city tried to get home. Tow trucks didn't stand a chance of getting through as well, and because of that, thousands of drivers sat for hours utterly stuck, running out of gas trying to stay warm. Side streets just as bad. People simply giving up, abandoning their cars and walking home. And if you were there during that time, then you probably remember exactly where you were that day and the national ridicule over the city and the state's response.
The South is getting over all-out paralysis. That includes its largest city, Atlanta. And a writer for USA Today has gone ahead and put the question out there. Is Atlanta simply destined to quit functioning every time it gets a few inches of snow?
The mayor and the governor got on TV yesterday and said, oh, this wasn't expected. And that's not true. I mean, we were talking about this Monday that this was going to happen. They took a gamble. They didn't want to pre-treat the roads. I don't think they wanted to spend the money and do what they needed to.
Man, that's hard to watch again. So how did it all go so terribly wrong? And when did the city and state learn from all of this? 11 Alive Doug Richards has more on the lessons learned moving forward.
From 11 Alive, it's 4:30 a.m.
This 2014 newscast started 51 minutes after the National Weather Service had issued a winter storm warning for Metro Atlanta.
Once you make your way down into the city, we have a winter storm warning.
With a forecast of 1 to 3 inches of snow, maybe some ice.
I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and we don't get this kind of weather.
Yet it took hours for it to feel like an emergency.
It seems to be the beginning of a snowstorm. That's what it feels like here in Peachtree City.
As snowflakes started to fall late morning, the Georgia Emergency Management Agency stayed strangely quiet.
They were not raising the alarm that morning. And in fact, some of the email traffic showed not a sense of emergency going on. I think the sense was that it wasn't going to be a major weather event.
Brian Robinson was an aide to then Governor Nathan Deal. As ice formed on roads, traffic started to snarl. Governor Deal emerged from an event at a downtown hotel and got caught in it with Robinson.
I knew we had a serious problem on our hands.
And check out the traffic on the connector going north. It is a standstill right now.
As daylight ebbed, the ice hardened and gridlock set in. Many people in cars had no option to get out, staying stuck for hours into the night.
Mother Nature has a mind of its own, and it does what it chooses to do.
Deal and Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed both took heat for the gridlock, the absence of planning, and the failure to heed the early morning winter storm warning.
The question is whether the state should have paid attention sooner than it did.
The magnitude of it started out saying it was going to be a dusting. Y'all were saying that. It was going to be a dusting.
None of y'all were saying this. None of y'all were saying we're going to have an inch of ice on the road and the entire region is going to get shut down. No one was saying that.
Yet that storm changed the state's outlook on weather emergencies, hesitating less now to shut down schools and workplaces. And even if it now seems like an overreaction, in light of 2014, it isn't.
So immediately after that storm, then Governor Nathan Deal also created a task force to try to find some solutions for us. 11 Alive's Chesley McNeil was also part of that team, and within a year, several changes were put in place. Here's a few of them. The city of Atlanta added iPads with GPS tracking in all of its salt trucks to show which roads needed to be cleared. GDOT began using remote weather sensors to detect road conditions above and underground, feeding that data to emergency management officials. School districts, well, they focused on better communication and became much more proactive in closing those schools, delaying the starts, and releasing students early before the storms actually hit.